organization. Jon is an Elko graduate, went to Penn State, and basically has been with the transportation, with the MPO, part of our office since its very inception back in 2003. And Tom Cote is our transportation planning consultant. Tom came to us in 2005 after a distinguished 32-year career at PennDOT as a high-level PennDOT official. So we use a lot of his relationships that he's built over the course of his career to help us do what we need to do with transportation planning. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to these two guys and let them go to work.
Well, I guess after you guys have all been hit with all those different programs, we're going to throw one of the, more or less you would have offerings up to these are the type of projects we would like to see, and they would be considered by the department, and if they were moved forward, that decision was rendered by the department. With the creation of the MPO, and this stems from a program that was created back in the 60s for Metropolitan Planning Organizations to provide a more local input to the development of transportation projects, especially given the fact that transportation is affecting so many facets of a community. For all of these guys, I can't tell you how much it means to have these kind of resources when it comes to land use and to a lot of the local community issues that these guys deal with that comes back to what Tom and I do on a regular basis. So much of that gives us a very unique perspective and a very informed perspective when we're talking with folks at the department. But this program, as it was created, started in 2003. I came on in September of that year, and as this program has grown, we have developed two of our key documents that we refer to, and that is the Long Range Transportation Plan and the TIP. And as you heard our discussions in December with amendments, the TIP is a list of projects that are under development, that are funded and are moving forward. Our Long Range Transportation Plan looks at a 20-25 year time frame for projects. So the process of moving a project onto the improvement program to actually coming to fruition is something that we start through our local discussions, through our local partners, develop what the scope of that is, and then eventually program that project into our long-range plan. It must be recognized there before it can move to the Transportation Improvement Program. So we have a very structured process that is set out in federal law. But for Tom and I on a regular basis, it is dealing with a lot of the developments you see going on here. Mainly our biggest issues right now are trying to maintain what we have. One of the biggest challenges with resources and funding is to try to stretch our dollars that much further to be able to maintain the system that we have. And as an MPO and as a staff, we have always tried to advise the MPO Policy and Tech Committee that we need to steer in a direction of making sure that the investments that we make are going to benefit us. That means operationally, and I use examples of a lot of people want to move in a direction of creating more infrastructure, widening roads, and that will solve our problems. A lot of the challenge is trying to optimize the system that we do have to function even better before we invest those critical dollars. As Tom and I know, two of our largest projects here with Shaverstown Bypass and with 9th and 10th Street are all projects that go beyond the funding level that the MPO has without what is called spike dollars, additional dollars above and beyond our TIP budget. We're looking at about $10 million annually. And in the state, we're the smallest MPO. But I think as we discussed at our December meeting, what you find is with all the folks here and working with the department staff, we've been able to be very flexible and very effective. I think our delivery rate was 132%. Meaning that we actually were able to take advantage of dollars that other entities were not able to utilize in the state. And that's a key point about what Tom and I do on a day-to-day basis with working department staff and trying to position our projects to be prepared for delivery. We move through a variety of phases from preliminary engineering all the way to construction. And at each of those phases, we're trying to make sure that we're meeting our targets, that these projects are on pace. Because what happens is, and as Tom knows as a PennDOTer, the state will never let a dollar lapse. So the name of the game is if you're prepared and you're on point, you will be able to maximize your available resources. And what happens is, and I use 22 as an example, when that job was under construction for the safety improvements, while we were working west to east, one of our phases, there was a decision about whether or not to retain the contractor to begin the preliminary engineering. Working with the department staff, we made that decision to do that. We actually did the engineering so that when, and unbeknownst to us, when the ARA money was coming down and people were saying, do you have projects that are ready to be delivered? We had projects that were ready to be delivered. And I think moving forward, you'll hear this mantra again and again at MPO meetings about if we've done our homework and we've gotten our ducks in a row, we can actually end up seeing a lot more dollars come here because of the planning that we're doing at our level of MPO. And
People that don't spend theirs, their money gets divvied up and we get their extras.
yeah, exactly. And I think there's also an aspect, and more so for all the regional things that I've gotten involved in my career here, is understanding the importance of trying to go beyond your borders, because there are other MPOs that by working together we've been able to maximize not only their dollars but ours. Some MPOs may have, for instance Harrisburg or York, may have a project where they need a variety of funds, and as Tom and I know, there's over 100 different categories of funding for specific purposes. And trying to fit those dollars to the right project and being able to make sure that no money is left on the table, we have to work with our partners. And what we will do is, if York has a TE project that they need additional dollars and we have a highway project, it's something that we try to work with to exchange those dollars so they can be utilized and we can move a project forward. Because collectively, if those projects are advanced, those fall off of our tip. And that's one thing to consider. We're always focused on, as these projects remain on our tip, they are costing us money. We are required by the Federal Highway Administration to calculate a 4% inflation factor. So like anything, time is money. The faster a job is delivered and off the tip, the more capacity that allows us to prioritize other projects that need to advance. So